I do appreciate that this is like we started recording and then immediately when we started recording, you're like, how do I do things?
Well, no, because it just happened as we started recording, and I was like, why is it so dark? Damn, this is wild. Look at his head. Okay.
You know, I was going to say something before.
What's that?
You didn't try, and it's honestly the best your hair has looked.
Yeah, for a minute.
Stop the work and fucking hold for everything.
Thanks, guys. Welcome to the Whole for Everything podcast.
A complicant.
It's a complicant.
That's
That's the name of this episode. This is a complicant.
We're batting 1,000 right now from the jump.
We're back. Oh, I can move my face.
What?
Okay, nothing.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you be able to?
Well, no, I'm saying on Zoom I can move my. I'm looking at myself, which is kind of weird, but whatever.
Everyone is on Zoom.
Anyway, we're here. We're back. We're sorry. Nobody cares. Somebody in Germany does. But
They listen to all of our shit.
Jess, did you see that?
Yeah, I did. I thought I responded. I guess I didn't.
You probably did. I just don't remember anything. I was told that I was told by a girl that I should really get checked out.
What?
For what?
For I don't know what's the thing where you lose your memory? Memory loss?
Amnesia?
No, not amnesia.
That's what that would be.
Yeah.
I guess. Okay. Then yeah, I should get checked out for that. But I'm scared to do that because I almost feel like she's right.
Well, you know what the bigger problem would be if she is right and you don't do it and it gets worse over time. Because that's exactly what would happen.
The good thing is I won't remember that it got worse.
Everyone else will, and you'll feel real bad about it. Anyway,
Eric,
what have you guys been doing for the last 4
ADHD.
months? Yo, that could be it. That could be it.
it's been longer than 4 months. I don't think we've recorded since the summer.
I think it's been 22 weeks, 23 weeks. So what is that divided by 4? That's
Well,
6.
20 divided by 4 would be 5. It's been half a year.
5.5 months.
Somewhere around there.
Jess has been busy. You've been busy. You've been chopping up wood and shit.
I'm always chopping up some wood.
Jess is out there gaffing and gripping and.
It's funny when Eric's on set with me as like a grip because he doesn't know, like I fuck with him so much that he doesn't understand. Sometimes I'm actually trying to teach him things. You know, when I'm like teaching him something, he thinks I'm like fucking with him. He's like, no, I know. I'm like, no, pay attention. Genuinely.
The funniest thing is I don't look at the call sheets ever because I've started to not care about life. So I just show up, and at least 3 times in the last 2 months, Jess is there on set, and I have no idea until I show up. And she's just casual about it. She's like, yeah, I saw you on the call sheet last night. And I'm like, you didn't think to text me and say, hey, we're on the same job tomorrow.
Why would I?
I don't know.
Well, you should also just notice that. Like, you're supposed to look at the call sheet.
I know, but I'm saying I don't because I don't care anymore. I'm over it, is what I'm saying.
Is this why, like, Dakota's always mad at you for being late to his shit because you don't even look at the call sheet?
No, that's a whole other bag of fucking worms. But
Well, Eric on set is fun.
yeah, that's about it. I bring the fun sometimes.
Dude made fun of me for using the word haste for like 2 straight weeks.
Whenever somebody's smarter than me, I just have to roast them for fucking.
You made it sound like it wasn't a word. Like,
It was just a weird. I don't know. It was what the fuck were we talking about? It was just a weird context. Like it made sense, but it was just like, why?
I think I was like maybe making fun of the like, you know how sometimes it's like, oh, we gotta do it quickly, and all that, like they do the move from like one room to another or something like that. They were like talking about doing things quickly, so I was just like, make haste as a joke or something like that. And you were like, haste, bro?
Who are you trying to impress, dude?
No one.
Got big words.
Definitely not you.
That's your point. Nobody's trying to impress me. I'm the one trying to impress everyone else. Jake, what do you got? Jess has been working. What have you been doing?
Also, a lot of working, both in the wood shop and on a bunch of sound stuff.
What's the wood shop shit for? Jobs that anybody would know?
Well, we often do things for like Broadway, Disney. Like that's probably the most like consistent thing that employs them. But obviously, since Broadway is kind of off now for a little bit due to massive COVID surge, we haven't been doing as much of that. Like the last week, I was literally just building a fence for the guy who owns the shop. It was just like, oh, my backyard needs a new fence.
It's not even for a job.
And I have I have all this fucking wood. So you guys figure it out. So
honestly, when you get there, can you like build me some shelves for my new place? I need some bookshelves.
Oh my God.
No, I'm not gonna just build one. If I'm there, I'm working on something for him. I'm not like,
maybe during your break, you just, you cut something up real quick.
Yeah, you know what I really want to do during like the time where I don't have to be working is keep working on a thing you're definitely not going to end up paying me for.
Not only am I not going to pay you, when I do get the shelves, I'm not going to set them up. So they're just going to lay in my room for the next year until somebody goes, oh, maybe I can do it. And I'll be like, yeah, sure, go ahead. That's normally how my life works.
What was that you asked me at one point to do something for your dad or your uncle or something like that?
My dad wanted his, he wanted the TV mount to be put into the wall. And I didn't know how to properly search for the beam that's behind the wall. So I was too scared to do it myself. And he didn't, first of all, he's a construction worker. So I just assumed, okay, you're going to know like small, at least little things from that kind of field. And he's just like, I have no idea how to do this. And I was like, okay, let me just find friends who know how to do it. So I got my carpenter friend to end up doing it. But
yeah, I mean, I can't remember why I wasn't doing it. I think maybe I was working or maybe I was in Ohio. Like
he was also, I don't know. You probably wouldn't have gone to the Bronx just to do that. I think he was paying like $75 or some shit like that.
Yeah. And to get to the Bronx, I'd be probably spending like 10-20% of that just to get there and back.
Well, in his defense, he like went to Home Depot and he just like went up to, one of the guys hanging out outside and he was trying to get them to do it. And they were trying to charge him his whole fucking paycheck. And he was like, no, fuck that. I can get it for cheaper. And I was like, yeah, probably. But you went to them and they were going to do it that day. So of course they're going to try to upcharge you. And
also like it's a TV mount. You should be able to do that. Like that's not a complicated thing. You literally just screwed into the fucking wall. This is the engaging content people come to hold for everything for.
Did we do an intro?
Yeah,
we did. I threw it in there when you guys were making fun of my hair.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that was
Somebody will catch it. Are you editing this tonight, Jess? I was kidding. I asked Walter, so we'll see what he says. But
Walter edits now.
I don't know. We'll see. He's still editing the first episode. I mean, okay. Well, no. I was going to talk about the Ryan Kavanaugh thing. Jess doesn't know about it yet, but I'll tell her when she gets her mic fixed because she'll know the Ryan Kavanaugh kind of situation. We can
hear you.
How are my levels?
They sound better.
Great. Why do I hear myself?
It's all right. As long as we sound good,
like
who cares?
Test microphone on or something?
Oh, yes.
Oh, there's a Quiet Place spinoff happening?
Yeah, but we don't. I mean, I don't have any information on that, but if you want to talk about that, we can.
Well,
you're not feeling it. I mean, they could do so much with a. I guess though, how much could they possibly do? How do you get better than a deaf daughter, a dead dad, and a baby with a mom? Like, you can't get any more dramatic than that in that world.
I'm trying to remember the name of the book, but like the whole thing is a giant ripoff of like a book that already existed, like down to like the characters you just described, essentially. So, and it's one of those fucked up things where it's like John Krasinski, is that his last name?
Yeah.
One of the many things that I've like over the course of the pandemic learned, like, oh, he just like takes other people's ideas. Like the good news thing is based off of like another YouTube show, and he just ended up being able to do it because he's just way more of a celebrity than some comedy writers out in Los Angeles.
Wait, so somebody else had the idea for Good News and then he hopped on it? Or
yeah, basically it was a segment on like a weekly show that was like, we occasionally highlight good news things. Like typically, I'm not gonna go into their whole structure, but it was like, yeah, that's a thing that already existed. And then same thing with and then he turned around, made like a month's worth of content, and then sold it for several millions of dollars. And it's like, well, that's kind of shit. Like,
did they get
it? The
only
book that I see is a Japanese book, and it doesn't really sound like A Quiet Place, but it's called A Quiet Place, I guess.
So
I think it's called The Silence.
The Silence.
Yeah, and Netflix made a show of it. This is what I was about to get into. And Netflix made a show of it that's based off of the book. And everyone's like, oh, this is just a ripoff of A Quiet Place. And it's like, no, this is what A Quiet Place is ripping off of. Like the book existed
prior to the movie.
Yeah, a decade or two prior to the movie.
I mean, nobody's mad at him only because the movie was good. That's pretty much
essentially, but also because the book was just like, it did well enough to get obviously a Netflix series, but it wasn't like some huge cultural phenomenon.
I mean, does he get
place this year, 2022?
Hell yeah.
Does he give credit to any of those?
No.
Dudes or nah?
No. In interviews, he's always just like, oh yeah, I just had this, it was a spec script and I just had this idea. Like, I was like, yeah, you had an idea.
I mean, maybe he just, maybe he just had an idea without ever watching the show. It's possible.
Not even watching the show, just the fucking book. The show, I think, came out after A Quiet Place. It was just, the book came out first. It'd be one thing if it was like A Quiet Place and then it was like based on that, or he even like talked about how it was based on that. Because who gives a shit? It is like a good and well-directed movie. But instead it's just like, oh yeah, fucking director, producer, star, writer, person thing. It's like, you didn't do all that shit. Yeah.
No. And he's also John Krasinski, so he could easily give credit to other people and nobody would really give a shit. They would still,
Yeah. Well, but it happens all the fucking time. People are like, oh, I loved this book. I'm going to make a movie based off of it. Like, no one gives a shit.
Yeah, but don't they usually have the author on board in some capacity?
That's what I mean, yeah.
It really depends on the author. Some authors are like, yeah, just do what you want. And then some authors are like, I need to be a part of that team. Like Blade Runner, I don't think Philip K. Dick was on anything too much with that. Yeah, I'm not positive. I think he didn't like it too much until
he didn't like the movie, or he didn't like his own book.
The movie, I think he's like, it was one of those things that he didn't like the idea of it being adapted, and then ended up liking it in the long run. Where it was like, oh yeah, actually I saw it and it was actually pretty good. But at first he was like kind of not into it.
That's rough. I can't imagine like writing a book and then handing it over to somebody else to get it done. I mean, then again, how much did JK have a part of the actual movie making? I mean, obviously she made a cajillion dollars,
but she had a lot to do with the actual movie making.
Yeah, I think she was involved in casting and stuff like that. Like,
okay, yeah, that's cool. Yeah. I wouldn't be able to give that up. I'd want saying casting and like little things that you're gonna keep. And
same with Maze Runner and Hunger Games. I don't know about Twilight though.
I think I tried to read Maze Runner and I gave up.
I didn't read it. I watched it though.
Sounds like a mistake.
No, it's actually decent. It wasn't that bad.
Okay, so we're not down on the fucking on the spinoff for A Quiet Place, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's the more I learned about it, the more I'm just like, I don't really like, even though like I agree, the movie was pretty good. I just don't want to keep throwing money at a person who's like a couple times just taken other ideas that from people and not giving them credit for.
I feel that. Because
it would be like, oh, it's so easy to be like, oh yeah, I saw this and I did it, and then just give them like a percentage of some of the shit. But instead it's like, no, we got to pretend that I'm this genius.
But at the same time, I mean, I guess because they were, I mean, this is not really film related, but it kind of is. It's for Squid Game. What's his name? Mr. Beast was doing like his own Squid Game on YouTube, and everyone was like, bro, he's not getting any money for this. Like the creator of Squid Game is not getting any money for this. And
yeah,
they were kind of giving flack for it. And then they asked the creator of Squid Game, and they were like, do you give a shit? And he was like, no, it's great publicity and sends people to the Netflix show. It's great.
See, I wasn't even thinking about that, but like the whole show is about fucking anti-capitalism. So
yeah, and then it's kind of the funniest thing to be like, to have a fucking YouTube person be like, look at this, I'm gonna make money off of a show that's based off of how money torments people.
Yeah. They're just not self-aware.
Well, that's also he was getting flack for that too. They were like, you're doing real life Squid Game minus the deaths.
Yeah. Also, it's like the interesting part of Squid Game was not the games they played as much as like the story happening. So I don't quite get how it's like, oh yeah, fucking everyone loved in Squid Game was the fact that they played red light, green light. It was like, no, that's not what people liked about Squid Game.
That red light, green light game honestly would be fun if you weren't dying.
Nah, that'd be
like
sick.
A big ass
honestly,
water gun or something.
I'd play if I knew I was gonna die. I'd be in there. I'd run to it as soon as it said red light. I'd be fucking they had Netflix had a thing, they had like a little promotion that you could sign up for, and if you won you could get a 6 foot tall, it was like an 8 foot tall red light green light doll. And I was like, what happens if I win this thing? What the fuck do I do with it? There's nowhere.
It's a set piece.
Yeah, that's wild. I don't know what the fuck.
Like where that guitar case is behind you?
Yeah. It's a mess. I'm glad my whole head is covering. I was going to try to put like hold for everything on the TV, but I couldn't figure it out in time, and I didn't want you guys to yell at me. So I'll just try to do it next time.
I would have yelled at you anyway.
I know. You're always yelling at me.
I mean, it's like you were already late too. So like.
Whoa. All right. First of all, today, you guys are all 5 hours late. So let's not even go there. Anyway.
I was late.
No, we're not.
Yes, we are. We're supposed to start 11:12, and then last night we decided we were going to do 2-3, and then turn into 4 o'clock. Well, I'm not arguing right now. The people are listening from Germany. How do you say?
How do you say?
I know what
today, Eric. I was late today, and you were still late.
How do you say hello in Germany?
I don't know, but also
let's continue
on
late
if like if we end up talking about it being like, oh, let's push it to this because Jess was editing and working and stuff. It's very different than being like, let's start at 6 and then have you be like, sorry guys, can't do it. I'm in IKEA.
I didn't know she wanted to buy.
No one goes couch to IKEA and doesn't want to do that shit. No one's like, let's go to IKEA and just still hang out, you know?
Anyway, to continue since we're here, we're going to continue the conversation about Squid Game. It's not on the list, but we're going to talk about it because it was on the list last time.
It was on the list, and I'd just like to say help.
The creator of the same dude, creator of Squid Game, he was talking about, he's already talking to Netflix about season 3. And
season
I'm like,
3,
bruh, you haven't even done season 2, my guy. So I guess they're really.
There's a 2?
There's going to be a 2.
I guess 2 is already guaranteed. It sounds like
2 is absolutely guaranteed. They made a shit ton of money on this show.
Yeah. But you see, certain shows I think should be 1 season.
Yeah, but when you're the number 1 show on Netflix of all time, they have like no choice.
And also, this is like, but this is also, I think, good. Not even if the season's not good, it's going to be good for the creator because he'll actually make good money off this. Like it was notorious that like he basically didn't make shit off of Squid Game because of the way his contract was. Like they bought the script, but he didn't have any like royalty incentive or anything like that. And while it made Netflix a shit ton of money, it made him decent money, but not like what he should get, essentially.
On some level, he probably doesn't care because he knows that he's just going to get the bag for season 2 and 3, and he's just like, whatever. Like, it's like I got to take the L on this one. Like, I'm the creator of the most popular show in the world on the biggest platform in the world.
I do love that South Korea is putting out like just a string of amazing content, and 90% of it is just like we live in a capitalist nightmare.
Yeah,
the whole world's like, fuck yeah, bro.
Because nobody's reading into it like that. I mean, I don't have a brain, so I didn't read into it like that.
You don't even have to read into it. They asked the creator, and this is the funniest thing to me, is like a lot of like the conservative internet commentators are like, Squid Game isn't about capitalism. And then like the creator of the show is like, it absolutely is. Like in interviews, he's like, yeah, I wrote it because I was in a place where I was miserable and in debt, and it felt like I'd rather play a game to the death than keep living in this environment. And
then some guy just started slapping me around on the subway, and that's how I came up with this idea. You don't get slapped on the subway?
And died, in case anybody was wondering.
Are you good? You good, Jess?
Just shut my mic off. I spit my coffee everywhere.
Wait, who died?
Jess
I drank my coffee and it went down the wrong pipe, and I just like. Oh.
Was it on camera?
I hope so. I don't think it was on me, but it was definitely there because it definitely happened.
I'll throw it on TikTok if it's actually on you when it happens. But yeah, I mean, I don't really necessarily know what they could do for season 2.
Well, they do kind of lead into the international ideas of it at the end of it.
I just don't see how he lasts for the entire season. Like, why wouldn't they just kill him before he somehow ended up in the game the second time? Because that's where it's leading. So, I mean, they're going to have to come up with a good explanation as to how he got there, kind of deal.
They might not continue with the same characters. They might do a different ensemble.
Oh, you don't think they would? That's a good point.
Like, not all shows do like every character goes on. Like, it could be like a True Detective where it's like there's some small, a greater linear thread than True Detective offers, but like some.
I see what you're saying.
Casting.
I think it'll be a shift. I don't think it'll be a complete overhaul because obviously this dude has to be in the next one because that's just the way that they ended the season. But maybe he's one of the secondary characters. Like he's end of episode 4 and he shows up and you're like, oh shit, he's in the game. How did he get here? Like maybe he's not the focus. That's a good point.
And I think it's gonna be good.
Holy shit.
What?
They're making a Santa Claus series?
Dude, I got so excited about this. I guess we're done with Squid Game, but that's fine. We're done anyway.
Yeah, so, I was gonna say we're finished with that topic. We got to talk about
what are your guys' thoughts
Tim Allen.
Tim Allen returning as Santa Claus. Now, there's a number of things that I find they're just interesting. So Tim Allen is known to be quite conservative, and that is apparently why he was just like taken out of the Hollywood world, I guess, according to him or people around him. I don't know if he necessarily says that, but that's like the outside idea that he mentioned his politics, and then they kind of went from there, and you haven't seen him since. He was maybe on some sitcom.
I think the real thing is that Tim Allen's just not that good of an actor, and so it's hard to cast him in things because he's just not very talented as an actor.
Agreed, because he has Last Man Standing. Like, what more does he?
He has that. He had a long run. There's a lot of conservative actors in Hollywood. Like fucking Vince Vaughn is a conservative actor in Hollywood. He still gets fucking roles and shit. Like
I didn't know he was conservative.
Yeah, he doesn't talk about it in the way that's like some other people do. I guess maybe not Tim Allen, but like some like how what was her name from The Mandalorian, Gina. Or it's just like they get crucified in front of you. It's like he kind of just like, it's a bit awkward sometimes, but I still get work.
I mean, in a way, it's like the smart thing to do to not open your mouth when you believe in shit like that, because you're just gonna kind of get, backlash. I mean, regardless of, I don't know if that's good or bad or whatever the case is, but yeah, I mean, anyway, so I find it interesting because one of the topics we had last week that we were supposed to do was the dude from Mighty Ducks, our boy, what's his name?
Charlie?
Jesse.
Who's the lead? Coach Bombay.
I don't know.
Emilio Estevez.
There you go, Emilio Estevez. He's anti-vax, so they didn't cancel the show. They just took him off of it because he can't be on set. And Disney they have a
they're strict as fuck about that.
Strict as fuck.
Having worked with them, even when I'm in like just a big ass warehouse filled with like stage props and stuff, I'm still like having to wear a mask and I get tested before I can enter the building and shit. Disney's taking no chances with their COVID response.
Yeah. So I find that interesting, but I guess maybe he's just not that far into the deep end where he's like, okay, this is like, he's not sitting there fucking conspiracy theories all day. And he's picking up, he's grabbing the bag with Santa Claus reboot, which I'm very excited for because that was the first one was definitely one of my favorite movies of all time when I was a kid.
What?
The Santa Claus
was your favorite movie of all
when
time?
When he was a kid, a child.
Okay,
it's easy to imagine a child really loving.
Yeah, I did. I liked it.
If Eric was like in my 20s, I stand behind the belief. This is top 10 all
top
time.
5. No, top 5, dude. Top 5. Absolutely top 5. Tim Allen, top 5. Yeah, I think that's sick. I mean, I don't know what they're gonna do with it. Hopefully, it's not as bad as the Mighty Ducks reboot was, because I wasn't a fan of the series at all. Kind of glad Coach Bombay is not coming back, because then that means they probably just will cancel the show and nobody will have to watch it again. But for the Santa Claus, I'm hyped.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna watch it.
All right.
Yeah,
I probably will start and then not finish.
Yeah,
there's just pretty much so much shit out there. It's hard to be like, you know what I'm gonna do?
Watch the Santa Claus.
Watch the Santa Claus. It's like there's like whole shows that I genuinely enjoy that I still need to watch like the second or third season of. So like Santa Claus is down on the list, but I just saw Tim Allen's name and that's like, I thought like he just retired or some shit. Yeah. Oh. Well, no, just because he hasn't done things. It's not like he needs to. He has like a syndicated show that Home Improvement.
Yeah. Which is still on.
Yeah.
By the way.
But he does. He's got Last Man Standing.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But I thought that was what happened. That's what happened with Last Man Standing. I think they took it off TV and he was saying, dude. No, I know, but I don't think I think a different channel picked it up.
Yeah, but dude, it's got 9 seasons. How could you bitch that nobody's airing it? You got 9 seasons, bro.
Well, no, I don't think he's bitching, but I think when they took it off the first time, that was his reason. He's like, I don't know what exactly he said, but I think because he it's like Roseanne, kind of.
Well, they kept running Roseanne just without Roseanne.
No, but I'm saying it's like, well, it's kind of like the newer season of Roseanne where their political beliefs were in the dialogue, and his was a part of the show.
Yeah.
Well, I'm reading a quote right now from him that says, "We all had considered to end the show after season 8."
Really?
Yeah. So he's probably just trying to draw publicity to the Santa Claus.
Well, this is a while ago though, so I mean that might be recent. Maybe it was season 3.
It was on. It says here it was on. Shit, I lost it. I think it was on ABC and then Fox picked it up. Fox.
Yeah, that's what I'm reading. That's what I'm reading right now. It was on ABC for 6 seasons. But also this happens pretty often where it's like, because you remember the same thing happened to like Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Right.
Yeah.
Like every now and then, I think a lot of it is less to do with ratings often and more so just like we can't afford to keep paying this ensemble cast. Like the first couple seasons of any show that has like an ensemble cast like that, like I've never watched Last Man Standing, so I guess I'm more talking about Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It's like, oh yeah, we have like one or two, like the one person that we're really paying is Andy Samberg. It's his show.
Yeah.
But then like as it goes, fucking those characters, the actors' salary increases so much that eventually the network's like, yeah, we get numbers, but my God, we're kind of losing money at a certain point.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, people don't really understand that. They just see that it gets canceled, and they're like, "What? It was such a popular show, so good.
Yeah.
Why would they?"
Yeah.
You know, but they don't put into account that they love the show because they had the production was expensive and the cast was insane, and
Yeah.
there's no
They're
way
not
that they could.
making money back.
Yeah, not every network has. I'd say most networks don't have like fucking HBO money. So like,
Right. We were talking about. I was talking to my friends yesterday about. I mean, we don't have to talk about Euphoria, but they were talking about the budgets for every episode is like $11 million.
Yeah, Euphoria is a great show though.
well,
they're like shooting it on this special sort of film. Like they're not just shooting it on film. It's some sort of like it's film that's not even used anymore. It's not even in production. And they went to the company and they were like, "Yo, you have to make this for us."
yeah, no, HBO, if you get a show on that, you at least know you're going to have the funding you want. Like they don't fuck around with their show budgets typically.
Yeah. That might be the issue with like Netflix. I mean, Netflix obviously has a big budget, but like I'm watching like Afterlife, and they're not really putting much effort into it. Like they have a nice camera and maybe a couple lighting guys, but they're not blocking off the whole blocking off the whole street.
Well, Netflix
what?
also.
Sorry, I got lost into like I just looked up. Euphoria does film on this special Kodak film that is super hard to get.
Yeah.
But Netflix also does so many shows. Like that's
right. It's not
so they don't really give a huge budget to anything. Like you get money. Like it's not like they don't give you anything, but just the amount of shows that they do versus HBO. Like
right. And I guess that was kind of a bad example because they probably use like the same cinematographer for the show and the way that Ricky Gervais probably likes it, and that's just what they do. Like I'm sure they have a decent amount of money because I mean Money Heist is shot really well. There's a bunch of shows on Netflix that are shot really well. So yeah. I don't know, I guess that was a bad example, but yeah, I don't know how we started that conversation. What were we talking about?
We were talking about Tim Allen,
and then we ended up on this money thing.
But I've been biting my tongue about how I saw an article that the Last Man Standing entire crew is doing the Santa Claus. So like, what is he talking about? He's not blackballed. Like,
I mean, I don't know if he ever mentioned he was being blackballed. I think maybe
no, because I was going to before we got on that when they got canceled on ABC, or not even not canceled, not renewed. I guess there's a bit of a difference.
That was his reasoning. He thought it was because of that.
But he also, I thought like, oh, well, it's one thing to think like, oh, I didn't get along with like top brass because of political differences. But he is also yet again another Hollywood Republican who compares being a Republican to being in Nazi Germany.
All right. Listen, Tim Allen from Santa Claus in the 90s, he was the man. He's
also a cokehead, isn't he?
What?
Probably not anymore, but
I'm pretty sure he got arrested for cocaine. Like cocaine trafficking or something.
I don't want to put a bad I don't want to tarnish the man's name, okay?
No, I'm not. It's genuine.
It's bad enough that he's a Republican, okay? We don't need to make him into a coke addict too.
No, it's genuine. Well, I'm looking it up.
I was gonna say they all these times that they're conservatives and stuff that complain about cancellation and things like that in Hollywood. But I've never seen anyone get canceled for being like, yeah, I just think there should be lower income taxes. Like it's never like the views of like, I support a smaller government and like less taxes. It's always the other social things where it's just like, it's always just like, I don't know what went wrong. I just said that I don't believe trans people deserve rights. And suddenly everyone's mad at me. And it's like, yeah, no shit, buddy. Like,
I don't understand why I can't say
that. That's the Caitlyn Jenner shit. The Caitlyn Jenner shit. She'll be like, I don't understand why everybody's pissed off at what I'm saying. And it's like, dude, serious? She'll straight up be like, I don't believe in trans rights. Like, bitch, what?
What do you mean? Yeah. It's like
should somebody tell her? Or
I don't know if Caitlyn Jenner is aware.
She doesn't know that she's.
But yeah, it's never like, oh yeah, I was just talking with some of the cast about how I think we're overtaxed and now I don't have a job. It's always a little bit more than that. Because no one would give a shit if that was like your stance. Like a lot of people have, even like pretty far left people could also agree with the concept of smaller government. It's not an exclusively left-right divide on government size. So like, yeah, that's never why people get shit.
Also, he was arrested for cocaine trafficking.
What's your deal with this coke? Oh my God.
In Kalamazoo. Yeah. In Kalamazoo. And he served 2 years in prison. I told you I was right. I knew that.
Listen, he served his time. Let's give it up for our guy Tim Allen. All right.
I'm not saying anything bad about it. I'm just
Tim
saying
Allen deserves to have
in prison.
Tim Allen deserves to have his voting rights restored.
Okay.
Yeah. Exactly. Even though his
he can't vote.
Anyone who's been convicted of well, it depends on the state, but most states don't allow convicted felons to vote.
So this motherfucker's on here bitching about his political views being like tarnishing his show and all this other bullshit. He can't even vote.
It depends. If he lives in Florida, he can vote. Yeah, there are some states that do allow former convicts to vote, but it's one of those things where it's like that's kind of fucked up, right? That if you go to jail, you suddenly can't like participate in society. That's weird.
But on the other hand, like where I was coming from with it is like you can't even vote. So if you think that's why people are not picking up your show, why are you even saying anything?
Yeah, you can't do anything about it anyway.
All right. So I guess that's it for Santa Claus. He's coming back. Do you think they release it in December? Because it's like a limited series. So they do they do like 10 episodes and then the final episode is
on Christmas?
Right,
yeah, I would bet that if they try to do anything, or maybe they just are like cute about it and they're like, haha, Christmas in July.
Dude, I'd be so pissed if I was watching fucking Tim Allen from Santa Claus in July.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, marketing reasons, they're totally releasing it around Christmas.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Not on Christmas because it's a streaming service.
Oh, right.
Well Disney, no. But Disney, is it on Disney Plus?
Disney does weekly. So
yeah, Disney doesn't do the, yeah.
So the finale, that'd be nice if it was
timed up with that.
The week of Christmas, at least.
Or like on
Oh, no,
Christmas
I meant they
Eve.
were going to put the pilot on Christmas.
Well, no, because then you're watching Christmas shit in January and February, and you're like, all right, what are we doing here? Why are we watching?
Yeah, you're right.
All right, so I mean, we probably should have started with this, but biggest story of the week is
Trump flaming Candace Owens.
That's not.
I'm just looking at the list. And just...
Okay, it was a typo. You're the
Candace Owens, baby.
My friend went over the list. She's like, "You have a huge typo here." I'm like, "What?" She's like, "It says Candace Owens." I was like, "Dude, nobody's reading that shit."
First of all, this is a fucking film podcast.
Yeah.
It's a film and TV, and it was on TV, and it was hilarious.
And to be fair, there was an episode where I spent like 20 minutes telling Eric about ranked choice voting because New York shifted.
That was the episode that Jess wasn't there, and there was like nothing to talk about that week, and I was like, I'm just gonna let Jake talk about this shit because we need to kill time for this hour. We only had like one topic, and it was like shit we hadn't watched, and we were just like, all right, well, what are we gonna talk about here? And I was like, well, how's this work? I thought we'd maybe get some views on it. Nobody cared. Jake went on for 20 minutes about something that nobody listened to. But
because you also didn't know what it was. Like
you're right.
I remember Germany fans totally tapped into that.
Yeah, that's where we got them. They were like, "Oh, now I get it." They like Googled what is ranked choice voting,
and like, it actually sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, they're just like, "Oh, I like that. I understand that." They probably have it actually. They probably don't need. I bet Germany, because like France does a version of that. It's not the same as how New York's doing it, but you know, a lot of countries already do it.
It would be funny if Germany just started doing it because of us.
Right.
Yeah, the law that puts it into place is the Hold,
the Hold for Everything
Act.
Law.
The Hold for Everything Act of 2022.
I don't put it past this year, to be honest.
Oh, Jess, when I tell you what happened with Ryan Kavanaugh, you will not believe this year, but we're not going to go there yet.
You should check my PlayStation and see if it says I'm on 2K. I bet you $20 it does.
Dude, you absolutely are. I feel like you're not even here. This is just a recording of you, and you're just playing video games right now.
I don't understand why my PlayStation constantly tells you I'm playing 2K.
Whatever. I'm like, dude, she's an animal. She's got to be the greatest player of all time. I'll go on. Like, me and Jake will be playing It Takes Two at 3 a.m, and I'll be like, yo, Jess is just killing it right now.
Just
on fucking,
destroying people in 2K.
dude.
From my pillow. I really don't know why it does that, honestly.
Anyway, Bob Saget died this week.
Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Oh,
a lot of
okay.
people care. There's been a
lot
lot
of people
talking
care.
about it.
And it sounds like Jess is gonna have an opinion, and that's
No,
why...
I honestly don't, because like I grew up on Full House. That's like the thing, but it's like Betty White died before he did, so like it doesn't matter. And he's like a piece of shit, so I care more about Betty White than Bob Saget.
But all right, so now I'm not gonna
To be fair
argue...
though, it does make sense that Betty White died before him. She was roughly 44 years older than him.
That's a good point. That's a good point. She did have a little advantage on that one.
Yeah.
But
all right, so I guess before we...
But no, I agree with you on like, if I had a preference on who was still alive, I'd probably choose Betty.
yeah, like, and also too, like I just didn't. It happened so close to each other. I didn't have the emotional capacity to give a shit about Bob Saget.
Okay,
but I guess you can speak on topic A as to why do some people hate him, because I understand that like he's, you know, like the stereotypical dirty comic, but
right,
I don't know anything about him
or
outside of that as to
I guess before, yeah. So my understanding is that because I don't know if you've ever seen his comedy, but it's like it's raunchy. It's raunchy and like juvenile. It's like high school juvenile type shit. Like, and like he talks about aliens, fucking babies, like shit like that, like just wild, like nonsense. Like it's not even funny. It's just like he got high and just thought of like the craziest shit to say. It's only funny because you know him as the guy from Full House, and when he says shit, you're just like, what is going on right now? Like the first time I saw his stand up, somebody like forced me to watch it, and I was like, what am I watching right now? It was so out of left field. But other than that, I don't understand. The only thing that I've gotten, because I'm on TikTok a lot, and a lot of it is people not making fun of, but everyone is talking about how they don't give a shit that Bob Saget died because he was a piece of shit. And I don't really know the stories. I don't like
you
know
just
if they're
quoted me
true.
verbatim. Like, are
No,
they
I know.
verbatim quoting me on TikTok? Or
No,
yeah, it's just all clips of Jess being like, fuck, I don't really give a shit about Bob Saget. And then like a Gen Z person being like, see, even millennials get it.
Yeah, well, yeah, but there's like, don't give a shit about it because it's like, whatever, he's from Full House, I don't care, I never liked him. Or like, there's people that are like, he was a sexual assaulter and all this other shit.
Well, see,
like,
that's where my head is at. It's like, oh, so like my issue, like, it's weird because I'm just very indifferent. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, I'm not sad, but I'm also not pissed. Like, I don't have an opinion on it. It's more so because of the pedophilia rumors around him. It's just kind of like, it is what it is. I don't understand why, even if you grew up with him, like as Danny Tanner, which I did, loved the show, you don't have to be upset that he's dead. You know?
See, I didn't know that there was like those rumors around him, which is why I guess I didn't like I said beginning of the segment, I knew him as like, oh yeah, he's like a notoriously dirty comic. He tells like a lot of edgy, like edgelord type jokes and shit. But yeah, I didn't know that those rumors were surrounding him.
I think the rumors only, I mean, as far as I understand, the rumors only stem from his comedy, which is a lot of, I mean, it probably changed over the last like 5 years. I'm sure he didn't
he wrote
go too far.
And like in the book, when like Mary-Kate and Ashley were younger on the show, obviously, and they didn't like to be on camera or they were being difficult, they'd use a doll and he would like pretend to hump the doll. And it's like, that's weird. That's totally weird. Don't tell me it's not. Like, the doll looks like them. That's crazy weird.
It's weird. And I'm not giving him a pass, but people are just like, and it's not funny, but if he just has like fucking ridiculous, stupid sense of humor, we can't accuse him of fucking like being a pedophile based on, I mean, I'm sure that's not the only thing people are basing it on. A lot of it is his comedy. And then like people kind of went back to the comedy roast. He did a comedy roast on Comedy Central, and a lot of the jokes were about like him, you know, touching little kids and shit. But I think it was only
like comedy.
It might have just been comedy because he was on a show full of kids, and it's like, what else can you make fun of this guy for?
but also like the Olsen twins are like super, super quiet in an odd way. And some shit went down with them. I just think
but they also
where
showed up
there's
to the
fuel, there's
funeral.
fire. You know what I mean? So like, I'm not saying he's 100% one, because God, like nobody knows until somebody says something. Nobody knows for sure. But I think where there's fuel, there's fire. A little bit. Like, just I don't know. It's too much talking for it not to be true. But again, nobody's gonna know now because he's dead.
Jake, did you die?
No,
Oh,
just
okay.
you guys were talking.
Yeah.
So.
Well, no. No, just because it's sometimes I'm looking at the screen and it's like I can't. It's not. I don't know because I don't have
The
the app.
doll is on the list. I didn't know you knew about that, Eric.
Yeah, I put the. Well, I didn't actually know I didn't know the full story. You told me the full story just now. But
Yeah, I mean, again, like I do think it's sad that he died. It's not like I don't give a fuck. It's just like.
But that's literally exactly what you said at the beginning of the segment.
Yeah. I guess, but...
What that?
I don't give who gives a fuck. I don't.
Well, because I don't understand why it's such a huge topic. Like.
Well, because I think part of it's the unexpectedness. Because he was in his 60s, but he was not a person that people thought like, oh, this guy,
he's gonna die soon. Yeah,
like,
I mean, he's
even with Betty White, it was like she was 99. Like, it's not the most surprising thing in the world that someone.
Oh, I was shocked.
Really?
Yeah, I was shocked. Shocked. And before her birthday, I was crying. That was a mess.
I wouldn't say I was shocked. I would think it was just bad timing. It's like the day before the end of the year, and it's the last 2 years have sucked, and this is just a way to go out. Like, it was kind of like, damn, that's fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, but I think that part of that is just because there was no real known health issues, or like the autopsy didn't say there was any drug things happening. Like,
No foul play.
Yeah, so I think part of why it gets has gotten a lot of coverage is specifically because it's kind of shocking. Like, it's out of the blue. Unexpected.
Well, okay, that's fair, because when I saw the news article, I did like I audibly said, "Oh shit."
Yeah. What? Oh.
When I read it, I saw that Bob Saget died. It was trending on Twitter, and audibly went, "Oh shit!" like out loud.
Honestly, I think I wasn't really affected by either, but I think I was more affected by Bob Saget than I was Betty White. Maybe because of the reason that Jake mentioned. I'm like, she's old, bro. She's gonna die. Bob Saget,
Betty White.
I'm like a big fan of the comedy scene. Is she's your grandmother?
I said she's basically my grandmother. Yeah.
And you didn't get her on the podcast before she died? Now I'm pissed.
No, I'm just like obsessed with Golden Girls, and
it's a great show whenever it's on.
Yeah, Hot in Cleveland, she was great on.
If I have cable ever in my life, I'm sure I wouldn't pass up a good Golden Girls episode.
Yeah. No, I felt more attached. I guess I could understand people like the same thing when Uncle Phil died. People view him as a father figure.
First things first, rest in peace, Uncle Phil.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big deal. I think it's also.
And that went right over Eric's head.
Why? What song is that from? Oh, first things. Oh, is that what he says in that song?
Yeah,
father that I ever knew.
The very first line of a very popular J. Cole song.
Dude, that's so wild. Like, as I was asking you the question, I was like, "Oh shit, that's the line from that song." Anyway, whatever. Fuck you.
So yeah, I mean, I get it. I just think, I don't know. That's weird. I guess.
Anyway, I don't know. I guess I hope that nothing crazy comes out. I mean, obviously, if it's true and it comes out, then what are you gonna do? But it's also then like it becomes a Harvey Weinstein thing, where
except Harvey Weinstein is in jail and shit.
Yeah.
No, I meant
right
as
now,
far as
he's probably going to get out, unfortunately. But yeah,
dude, honestly, when I think of Harvey Weinstein, I think he's in jail similar to how Kingpin was in jail in Daredevil.
He had true.
He had 3 floors in Manhattan, and it was a nicer place than where you and I live.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's in rich white guy jail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Martha Stewart jail.
Yeah, but Martha didn't deserve to go to jail.
I thought she did.
Deserve to?
Yeah.
For insider trading?
I thought she avoided taxes or something, dude. What?
I think it was insider trading and tax evasion.
I don't think that I didn't know about the tax evasion part of it.
This guy Jake's out of control.
But insider trading, here we'll find out. Insider trading is illegal though.
Yeah, it's illegal, but
do they ever go to jail for it? No.
I guess he means there's so many people that do it for
And
her
just
to
get
be the one
fined?
that gets.
And mostly the concept of like, I guess I don't care for the concept of prison beyond like incredibly violent crimes, where it's just like, okay, like why are we incarcerating people for the like for kind of shit that you can just be like fix it. Like,
Oh no, I'm with you. And plus,
Yeah.
Martha Stewart shouldn't be going to jail for it was pump and dump.
yeah, that was and that was my point of like deserve to go to jail. Like I
Yeah.
don't think she like yeah, it's wrong and there should be a consequence, but like I don't think prison should have been the consequence.
Well, no, not if
Yeah.
they're not gonna arrest the bigwigs on Wall Street for it.
Yeah.
And she had to pay $30,000. That's what it said.
Yeah, but that's like nothing to Martha.
Yeah, I know, but still, you go to
Absolute-
prison
dude.
and you got to pay the fine.
Absolutely
Yeah.
nothing to Martha. I was on her little. We already talked about it on the podcast, but
Yeah.
I went to like her little farm area. Shit is ridiculous. It's wild.
She too is also my grandmother on the other side.
Damn. Now she's
Get
gonna
Martha
die.
on the pod.
Dude, if you can get Martha Stewart on the pod, that'd be amazing.
Dude, you were the one who worked with her.
I didn't see her though. Anyway, all right. So fuck Bob Saget. We're done.
Yeah,
I guess.
mean,
Yeah.
I hope whatever to end it off.
I don't want to
hope-
talk shit because I don't. It's like the same situation with like the.
I don't
Michael
want to talk
Jackson-
shit, but you know who?
No, it's like the same thing with the Michael Jackson
Talent.
thing. If the
And
truth
fuck
isn't
him.
out, then he's dead
Yeah.
now. What are you gonna do?
I feel that. Anyway, we kind of have to go over the Alec Baldwin thing. Something came out today or yesterday, so we can kind of like give a recap of it and then just
We
talk
never
about what
even
happened this
covered
week.
that, did we?
No, we didn't. That's what I'm saying. We can kind of. That was probably the biggest story while we were gone.
Yeah.
Was the Alec Baldwin situation. I mean, I don't know if you want to
For
give a
those who-
recap of it.
Yeah, I mean it's a pretty simple recap for those who don't know. It's Alec Baldwin shot and injured one person and killed another with a quote prop gun that should have been checked by the prop person, the arms master beforehand. Probably wasn't, but also maybe if he just paid good enough rates, he could have kept the people that walked off set because he was paying them like trash. He was a producer on the fucking thing.
Right. Okay, so the story prior to the big interview that he did was that the crew was walking off set. There was non-union members that they got to replace those people. The only people that really stayed was the DP, the cinematographer.
They're the same person.
I know. Thank you. Thanks, Jess. I didn't want to just say DP because everyone, if somebody's watching, they don't know what the fuck that is.
You could say
Anyway.
director of photography then. I think Eric didn't know what that meant, so that's why he was trying to avoid it. I've been working in film for 4 years. What the fuck is a DP?
What are lights and how does this?
Why do you need lights to film? I have
dude,
a camera.
I have a flashlight on my phone. I don't understand. What's the, yeah. What the fuck? Yeah, the crew apparently walked off. This was the story prior to Alec Baldwin having his say on an interview. I don't know, NBC, ABC, one of those. They were saying the crew left prior to, and then they got replaced by these non-union workers, and then it made it kind of even more unsafe. Apparently,
The gun went off already too before.
right, the gun had gone off prior to, and people were worried about it, and that was one of the reasons that apparently people walked off set. At least that was one of the stories that was going around. But then Alec Baldwin did his interview about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. And he claimed that none of that was true. And then after the interview, he continued to post stories from set that made him look, I don't want to say good, but they didn't put him in such a bad light that the stories were prior to his interview. I don't really understand how that can happen. How can all these stories come out prior to, and then after the interview that he does, all these stories come out that said everything was fine? How does that? I don't understand what disconnect is there.
Because Bob Saget has a lot more money than the rest of the crew, so he's able to kind of like manipulate a little bit of media better than they could.
That's not Bob Saget.
Whatever, he might as well be. Alec, like it's weird. Because yeah, obviously he didn't mean to like kill someone, so that's gotta be dangerously like not dangerous, but like wildly hard to deal with mentally, accidentally like killing someone. But like Alec Baldwin historically is a piece of shit, and I don't quite know why he's gotten so many passes.
Right?
Yeah.
That part, like he didn't do it on purpose. 1, but 2, he is the producer.
Yeah.
And 3, like, okay, yeah, I'm sure he was being a piece of shit to everybody on the crew anyway. Like he did pull the trigger, but he didn't do it on purpose. But he's a dickhead.
Well, he's saying that he didn't pull the trigger. He's saying he pulled the.
Come on, that's bullshit.
He's saying the whatchamacallit. I don't know what it's called because I don't know anything about.
So
guns.
what? It was they pulled the trigger. His story was they pulled the trigger when they were testing it.
No.
They were testing the gun. They pointed it at the cinematographer. Come on.
When he's saying when they tested it, the I don't know what it's called. The latch, the back, the
I don't
hammer.
know what it's called either. But
the hammer. I guess he pulled the hammer back and that went off without the trigger being pulled, and then that is what hurt the one gentleman and killed the other.
So I mean, I don't know the type of gun it is, but if it's the old style revolver where you can pull that back, he's just counting on a bunch of people not knowing shit about guns, I think, because that essentially would just be rotating. If it's a revolver, like I kind of suspect with a Western, that's like kind of classic is revolvers and Westerns, then like all it's doing is rotating the chamber to line up the next thing. Like the hammer itself being pulled back is not like, if it's still the whole part of the story, even regardless of gun mechanics, is the gun misfired while Alec Baldwin was pointing it towards the camera. This just changes the idea of how it misfired. It doesn't change.
Well, that was the original story, was that he was pointing it towards the camera, but then his story is completely different. Like it wasn't what we all thought it was, which was they were filming and he aimed at the camera for that shot.
Does it matter though?
I mean, it's just, no, it doesn't, but it does if he's lying about it. That's what would be the reason?
But even that, if he's lying about it, it's to make himself feel better and like, okay, yeah, he's a dick, but he went through something.
I get what you're saying, because obviously he's not going to do it on purpose. But I think the way that he's handling it afterwards is just really annoying. Like his post on, like, if I was him, I would take a year or 2 or 3 off.
100%. But
and just
like
bounce,
Jake was saying, he's a dickhead. He's not going to do that.
He's just online, like posting, like it's a mix of stories that people are like texting him from set, and he's like, see, I'm great, everything's fine. And then like he's posting shit that has nothing to do with the shooting, and it's like, bro, what are you doing? Like, you're promoting, what are you doing?
Well,
like,
that's what I'm saying.
Go to bed.
Go, Jake. You go, Jake.
I was just gonna say, yeah, it's just because you're a dick, like, doesn't mean that some people don't have some nice moments with you. Like that's the thing we get caught up with a lot of the times with like sexual assault things, where it's just like, oh, he couldn't have done that, that's my buddy. It's like, no, you can be friends with a person who does terrible things to other people. Like that's we get at this idea that like everyone who is shitty all the time to everyone, and that's not how that works. Like, so
exactly,
yeah, him being like, some of these people liked me, does not mean that they all did, or that he wasn't, underpaying people, and that's why they didn't have like the armor that they set out to have initially on set.
Exactly. And to piggyback off that too, it's like, just because he's probably still going through something traumatizing. Like, he didn't want to murder somebody, and he did. So he's probably trying to make himself feel better,
Yeah. And like what was said earlier about like, he probably should take, like, he should absolutely take time. No one's going, if he was like, this is traumatizing, like no one would like, and I just need to be away from all this for a little bit, no one would be like, boo. It'd be like, yeah, that sounds reasonable. Like, because once again, even with all the things that where it's like, yeah, some of this are due to decisions that you made, but once again, no one would be like, he's still not a murderer is what it comes down to. Like, he did, like, that requires some premeditation and intent to do something. He just fucked up, and then someone died because of mistakes he made. Like,
well, now the story that came out today was that they collected his phone, and I don't know what the reason would be. I guess when you're investigating, you just need everything. but he apparently was not giving up his phone for a while, and it's been like 20. Apparently, I was reading. It's been 29 days that they've been asking for his phone, and he finally handed it over. But I'm just thinking, like, what could they possibly find in there? Like, again, it's
negligence, because Sarah Jones was a huge thing, and that director went to prison for negligence. Like, he's the producer, like Jake said. There could be text messages in there where him and the armor or him and the AD were having a conversation. Oh, we need to speed things up,
right,
and that he could think that that's incriminating. Could be anything.
Like, creating a not hostile but an unsafe work environment, and like some conversations might prove that they were cutting corners and shit.
Mm-hmm.
I see. That makes sense. I mean, is there a world where he goes that he does any time whatsoever?
I don't think so.
Maybe not.
Probably
for murder.
not. Well, he wouldn't go for murder. They wouldn't
Right.
charge him for that. At the highest they would is manslaughter, because that would be that's basically that is the category. That's quote,
right.
You killed someone on accident.
Right.
Kind of. That's not really what it is, but that's where the highest charge he would face. So the possibility exists, but it's kind of infinitely slim just based on the resources he has available to him.
Yeah.
Where it's like he can afford whatever lawyers he wants and stuff, and because there's not like a literal video of this, and going to come down to like hearsay, then he'll have the people who can argue that. Probably, if anything, just probation. Like, most celebrities end up getting probation for almost anything that they do.
And the difference, like Knight Rider went to prison because there was no permits involved. People said no. This was people weren't doing their jobs, basically. So it's different.
Yeah.
And I think that's the only movie where anybody's ever gone to jail for a set accident. I'm pretty sure.
Really?
Well, because most of the time you're able to, the set accidents, you're able to point out just like, you can do like everything right and have these malfunctions happen. Like, that's absolutely true. Like lights falling on people on stage and stuff. It's like, doesn't always mean it wasn't done right. Sometimes it's just the thread that was holding it in, like of like whatever screwing is just, it breaks. Like,
all right,
these things happen.
Yep.
Do we believe that the director of photography's husband works with the Clintons, and that's why she was was killed?
Oh my god!
Is that
really
a thing?
That's absolutely a thing.
Oh my fucking god!
Absolutely a thing.
I hate so much of the world we live in.
I know.
Absolutely.
Well, going by mine and Jake's reactions, no is the answer.
I just thought I would put it out there because I don't know. I mean, I don't actually know if he works for the Clintons, but
well, whatever. The thing is, it doesn't matter. Like,
no, I know, but
right, like
it's not why anything. Like,
the only thing I've seen is like people being like, "Oh, we're the anti-gun or pro-gun people." I don't even know who's saying it, but they're trying to make it a gun argument.
The pro-gun people are roasting the shit out of Alec Baldwin right now. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, well, because a lot of the pro-gun people are like, "Oh, you help. Like, you always have to check. You always," and they're right. They're not wrong about this part of it, but like, it is weird that, for one,
they didn't call a meeting but again, if the only way that it makes sense is because you always call a meeting right before the scene. So the only thing I can think of is that they weren't about to shoot the scene, because nobody just goes in there with the empty gun. Like, even if she's got no experience at all, right? It was the daughter of the guy and he got sick and he wasn't there, whatever.
But apparently this first AD does it all the time. He did a Hulu show too where he was like completely reckless. Out here, actually, in New York.
I saw a conspiracy
it was
the same AD who was on.
It's not a conspiracy. It's fucking true. I was just going to say that. Look it up. That shit is true. He was on like the second unit or something. He wasn't there when he got shot, but he was like, second unit.
What are the fucking odds? What are the odds of that?
Right?
That
like, that's crazy.
The odds get pretty high if you have a reckless person running the set around. Yeah.
To finish what me and Jess were just doing telepathically, the AD on this was also a part of what's his name passing away. The
Brandon
Crow.
Lee.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I wasn't sure how true it was because I kind of just read it and I was like, dude, that is a wild coincidence.
Well, see, I read it and had the same reaction, and I had to do my due diligence and find out if it was true. And it is
before you go on the
very
podcast
true.
and you're like, this dude's fucking just killing people. It's crazy.
Well,
It
if we
is
wanted to
very true.
pivot to like an alt-right podcast, then we don't really have to look anything up anymore.
That's true.
Like, we could do that. We could just be like, I heard this, therefore it's fact. Like,
Yeah. I mean, we could. It'll definitely get views,
Dude,
that's for sure.
It would absolutely get
Yeah.
views. I tell my friend that all the time because I have this is not related to anything, but whatever, we're here. And there's a girl on Instagram that I'm friends with, and she would get like no likes, no anything, nothing. She started posting like anti-vaccine shit and all this other fucking wild right-wing articles and
Yeah.
she just gets so much traction. And it just does. It's the total opposite of what people on the right and like right-wing conspiracy people say, which is that once you say these things, they like
Yeah.
shadow ban you online. I'm like, dude, it's the total opposite.
no,
You say
like,
these crazy things, and everybody is either angry at you or they believe you, so they become followers of you. And then I feel like there's just some sort of fucking like
no, literally
it
all of
just does
Facebook's
something-
shit. All of
Yeah.
Facebook's algorithms are geared specifically for that. Like, it's like beyond like proven, though people don't want to like ultra alt-right people don't want to like face that, but it's like it's designed to spread that shit. That's what they target. It's what they highlight because
it gets
literally
people talking.
yeah, and literally increases engagement, and that's the only thing they care about is increased engagement, as much engagement as they can. And that's why you don't really see like, not you don't really see, but you always see like some crazy shit happening because that's what they want, because people actually sit there and engage with it there, and that earns them, that makes them more money.
Shit's wild.
Yeah. So yeah,
We should do that. Trump
Yeah.
2024. Clip this. Put it
What's
online
that
right
guy?
now.
What's that guy? Fuck, what's that podcast guy who got banned? Alex Jones. We just
Oh, yeah.
replace Alex
Yeah.
Jones.
I mean,
we could be the new
that's
InfoWars.
Yeah.
that's a little different. He really did get like shunned from the internet.
Well, he
Yeah,
should have.
Well, yeah, he got shunned from the internet because he perpetrated a hoax that Sandy Hook was staged, and
He
then
was
people
leaking
went
their
out and
addresses.
yeah, people went out and like harassed the parents of these dead children. Like, of course, like, and that's the wild thing is that that's not like the first time he had done shit like that, but it was like just it took years for any platform to be like, all right, we should probably stop hosting this guy who constantly is like putting out, not even just like talking about conspiracy theories, but putting out wild ones and ones that like some of his fans, not all of them, because some people watch Alex Jones just for a laugh. But like some of the,
Well,
the
that's the thing,
hardcore people are just like, oh fuck yeah, that's the truth. I gotta go out there and fucking beat up some grieving parents now. Like,
Well, I was gonna say, like, obviously, other than that shit where he's putting out addresses of parents of kids that have died and like saying that it's a hoax. Other than that, him saying like crazy ass conspiracy theories is always hilarious to me. Like,
oh yeah, there are some
he's-
things that he fucking says that are genuinely funny, but also like they're just he sandwiches those moments, just sandwich the fucking terrifyingly bad shit that he says. Like,
right. He always
It's
takes a
like-
bit of truth and then like adds some wild shit, and you're like, and that's how people.
he
get
doesn't even
sucked
always
in the
take a
first
bit of
place.
truth. Sometimes he's just on there drunk and shirtless, and you're just like, this is the content that I was hoping for. And then
Yeah.
other times it's just like vague like allusions to how like Jewish people run everything and like all the like anti-Semitic stuff, but he doesn't say it. He's like the globalists. Like it's all different terms, but it's like, yeah, that's all the same language that people have used, just updated with a new like code wording, basically.
We could segue into the Rothschilds if you really want to become a right-wing conspiracy podcast.
Global bank.
I mean, I was gonna segue into, because we could just clip this whole right wing conversation with the Candace Owens.
Yeah, because that's some of the funniest shit to me.
Honestly, that did make me giggle. I won't lie. Like I ate that shit up. I loved it.
Dude, it was amazing. But the worst part about it was, so I go to Christmas dinner, and I've got like very conservative family or whatever, And I mention it to them. I go, did you guys see Trump roast the shit out of Candace Owens on live TV? And they go, oh, no, I haven't seen that interview yet. And I'm just like, I don't know. It's not their fault, but it's just like, it's wild. It's crazy how there's just not tunnel vision. Maybe that's not the right words for it, but
tunnel vision, horse
how
blinders.
How do you watch everything Trump related, but then the one that he's being interviewed by, the one black lady that they all love, and you happen not to watch any of it, especially the best part where
it's probably because they got told what, or they learned through the grapevine what it was about and the vague ideas of how it went down, and we're like, I don't want to watch that one because that would hurt my confirmation bias.
To be honest, though, I kind of do that. I do that sometimes.
Everyone does it on a level. Like everyone does that shit. We're just like, oh, I don't really care. I don't need to hear that. But like,
where it's like, this guy wins a battle with, my favorite, political person. I'm like, damn, I don't want to watch that. I don't want to watch my guy get fucking wrecked on YouTube. But this is different. Like he's doing a 2-hour interview. It's not like.
And let's not pretend like I don't understand I was watching that laughing though, because like he's clearly trying to take credit for the vaccines, right?
As he should.
Which like, to be honest, it's literally his. Like
that should be a huge victory for like the Republican Party to latch onto. It should be like a big thing that they latch onto as a success of the Trump era.
Oh,
but
100%.
Instead they're like, no, it's bad. Like, what? Why would you do? You're sabotaging yourselves.
And that's what I'm getting at. It's like, I don't know. It's so weird. Like, I don't know. It's it caught me though. It tickled me. It really did. She was like, right, and he was like, no, actually.
He's like, no. What are you talking about? She's like, yeah, but same amount of people have died under you and Biden. He's like, yeah, but all those people dying are. Most of them
unvaccinated. Yeah.
He's like, who cares if more people are dying on him? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Like,
but that was the thing, like with Jake's
Joe
point,
Biden's just out there fucking.
But that's Jake's point,
people.
right? Like that should be a big Republican win. But when he was president, he was super anti-vax and like.
I don't know if he was,
isn't a thing, and now it's not.
I don't think he was anti-vax. I don't think he was anti-vax. He downplayed the virus, obviously.
And he wasn't pro-vax, that's for sure.
Well, he did like that committee. So he did a good vax thing where he had that like he kind of peeled away some of the bureaucracy that slows down vaccine developments. But also, I think really that era for him was just, I need this to be done. Like it was more about like, this is like the fact that the virus still exists is bad for me politically.
He's more so than dumb though. Like
I agree.
He would have got reelected if he would have handled like if he would have the way that he was talking about the about COVID on Candace Owens.
Yeah.
If he would have talked about it like that during his reelection campaign, he would have won. Yeah, but guaranteed.
No, well, even with the whole vaccine stuff, he's like, yeah, I'm not down for the mandates. I'm not down with anyone being forced to take the vaccine. Like he still always has that little bit of.
But that's what I'm saying. Keep his he totally would have won. Totally.
Yeah, but he didn't even do that. Is basically like he if he owned up the ideas like these vaccines are almost done developing. That's all me, baby. Like then it would have been different.
I mean,
100%. Like I don't understand where his switch came from. That's why I find it so funny.
I do remember before the vaccine actually came out, when he would do those speeches, he would mention, it's right around the corner. But it's one of those like used car salesman things where you're like, all right, he's just saying things. You don't actually like, he never showed proof that it was actually about to come out.
And also it was not consistent. It would be like, he'd hype it for one day and then he'd be like, well, it's unnecessary the next, like the branding was off.
For sure.
But it's also like super smart. I mean, as far as, I don't know, like he's somehow going to keep the base. Like I mentioned the Candace Owens things and they were like, oh, well, what happened on the thing and on the interview? And I mentioned how he was pro-vaccine and he mentioned everything that we're aware of. And And my mom goes, "Oh, he must not be up to date with the stats." And
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God.
I'm like, he's gonna win though, because they're gonna be like, oh well, maybe he's just not, he's not aware.
You know what
So
what I like in my presidents are people who aren't up to date with the facts. That's who I want to vote for, is someone who's just a couple months behind, which is basically what we got in Biden. But like,
it's either the dead guy
like...
or the guy who doesn't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Bro, Biden, don't get me started. Biden's trash, bro.
Dude, I saw an interview with Kamala, and she told them to Google it. Oh no, that's what it was. No, it was they asked her, because I guess they're giving everyone COVID tests at home or whatever, or something like that. And
they're going to mail out if you want it, you can.
Right. And she was being interviewed, and he was like, "All right, so where do people get it?" And she was like, "Well, we have millions of them being made, and just Google that shit. Like, the fuck are you asking me for, bro?" And he's like, "Can you give us a link
on that?
Can you give us a link? Can you give us something?" Like, dude, what are you talking about? This shit is wild.
I saw her go off on Charlemagne too. That was kind of funny.
Dude, Charlemagne is a great interviewer. She's a fucking nut. I mean, she's also crazy.
Charlemagne is trash though. Like,
the thing that I like about Charlemagne is because he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, he occasionally just stumbles into a good question.
Because he says shit that like the normal person would ask, and he's like, "I don't understand, who's president? Is it Joe Biden or Joe Manchin?" And she just starts flipping the fuck out. I mean, he also like the older. I think he used to be super trash, but still kind of funny for the time. And I think he's still funny every now and then. I think like the older he gets.
oh yeah, and
the better of an interview he becomes. But anyway,
I enjoy watching him too. By the way, like I do.
He's not like an inherently great journalist, but like occasionally he just says some shit, and you're like, no one on like ABC is gonna ask this fucking question. Like,
it's perfect. It's perfect like meme culture, like the hot sauce and Hillary Clinton and shit like that. Like none of that would have happened without Charlemagne being like, what's in your purse?
Yeah.
Like, he calls people out, kind of.
Yeah, fucking what's his name? Brian Williams.
Okay.
Is that the
helicopter?
fucker on? No, I don't know.
Brian Williams is the guy who said that he was in the helicopter. No,
I don't know.
Helicopter.
I don't know. What any other fucking like Anderson Cooper is not about to ask that shit.
Oh my God! Yeah. Did you see Anderson Cooper on New Year's, bro?
Yeah.
Holy
they do that. They do that every year.
They're just like, let's get Anderson trashed and throw him on television.
Yeah, but he wasn't the one. He was fucking wasted.
It was Cohen that was getting all the. I can't speak. Everyone was focused. Not backlash, but
it wasn't. It was just like, but the two of them were absolutely trash. I've never seen them that wasted before.
Yeah, it's funny though. I love how nobody gives a shit, and it's just like whatever. Because like I'm sure the people on crew or on the camera just annihilated, and the fucking camera is just like nobody gives a fuck. It would be fucked up for the host to be able to just like get wasted, and like the camera.
I just found it really funny how wasted they were, because that was comedy gold. That television, it was comedy gold.
Andy Cohen going at what's his name, the mayor,
Eric Adams.
No, not Eric Adams. It was because I guess
Blasio, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was going after de Blasio because we hit midnight, and I guess day one is Eric Adams' first day. Right? That's how that worked. So he's like, all right, well, now that Eric Adams is sworn in, de Blasio, I've got a few words for you. And he just like goes off about how de Blasio had people dancing around during COVID because they were doing all those little performances out in the streets when we were kind of allowed to go outside or whatever. And then Anderson Cooper was trying to pull him back, like, bro, stop, please stop.
It doesn't matter. No matter who's ever mayor of New York, it seems like we always elect the shittiest options. It's like
we need Batman.
Yeah, New York needs Batman.
We need Batman and Commissioner Gordon.
And what we got instead,
O'Brien's playing somebody in Batgirl. We got 10 minutes.
Instead, what we got is Eric Adams' like fucking half brother or some shit as the deputy commissioner.
Who?
Fucking It's like Eric,
his brother.
who has no police experience whatsoever. And it's just like the most blatant nepotism, and people are just like, it's fine,
That should have been me.
It should be. You have the same amount of requisite experience.
Yeah.
Why not? Why shouldn't you be? Apparently, you don't need to know how to do shit to be the fucking deputy police commissioner. So
that's great, because I don't know how to do anything.
Shit. Yeah, it's probably better, because you'll probably be like, oh, I don't think that's right, and then do something that actually helps people. Like,
I don't like this. How do we fix that?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, let's do that. Let's see what happens. Okay, Jess, I told Jake this whole story yesterday, and he's like unaware of the H3 podcast. But,
Okay, I know what's going on. I also know who Ryan Kavanaugh is.
okay.
And now my question is, are we talking about him in H3, or are we talking about the fact that he looks like Harvey Weinstein?
We're not talking about either of those things.
Oh.
We're talking about how I somehow implemented myself into this legal battle. And I don't know how.
You're in it?
Not really in it. I don't want to hype it up more than it already is. But okay, so
What do you mean? People are not hyped that you're in the lawsuit. They're hyped about the H3 lawsuit.
No, I understand. I'm saying I don't want to hype it up as if it's like more than it actually is, because it's really nothing. It's just super funny what happened.
Yeah.
So I was telling Jake yesterday. So anyway, so if you don't watch the H3 podcast, the podcast, the hosts of the podcast are being sued by the president of Triller. I don't know if he's the president, but I'm assuming he's the president. He runs Triller, and Triller is the company that puts on the pay-per-views that showcase Logan Paul and Jake Paul and all those.
He's also
dudes.
a film financer. I thought you knew that.
He's a film financer, and he has all these films that are absolutely terrible.
Mhm.
And he claims to be, what does he claim to be? He claims to be the lead. He was like the starting point for the MCU, but it was like
I don't know all that.
Yeah, it was. He claims to like be involved in that, but then you look it up, and his first film is like some really shitty Marvel movie that nobody's ever really cared about ever in life. It's like, I think it's like Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider is like something that.
Shit.
Yeah.
You know, that staple character.
Yeah.
Nick Cage is in every Marvel movie, turns out.
Shout out to Nicolas Cage.
Love to have you on the pod, Nick Cage.
Please come. Begging you. Anyway, so long story short, he said on Twitter that he found out, what was it? He found out who has been messing with his Wikipedia page.
And it's you?
No. But
that'd be even better.
He found out who was messing with his Wikipedia page, and he posted the person's username, which is Throast, Throast. And me, as a joke, because Ethan commented on it, I just made a comment because I thought like people reading it would find it funny. So I changed my username to Throast on Twitter, and I commented on the thing, and I said, "It's me." And then later that night, I got home at like 3-4 in the morning, and I go to check my messages on Twitter, and guess who messaged me? Guess who's in my DMs?
Oh, shut the fuck up.
Ryan motherfucking Kavanaugh.
It's so good. It's so good. That's got to be our video tag, is just the picture of the text.
That should be the not even
shot at it.
No, the episode is episode 26 or something, and then it's just Throast.
Our
Throast.
Roast.
That would be funny.
Oh man, it's so good. Like, not even being outside of it, just it's easy to recognize the fucking comedy gold of it.
It's just so silly. I mean,
the lawsuit itself is like basically all based off of shit like that.
Yeah, it's all just he doesn't seem to understand like how the internet works. Either that, or he's like the biggest troll of all time, which is also very possible. But I haven't quite figured it out. Anyway, I posted it to Reddit, and it's like the number one post right now.
It's doing bits.
Yep,
dude, it's nuts. Somebody sent me I don't know how Reddit works, but somebody sent me an award.
Oh, nice. You're doing really well, dude.
I was like, I don't know what this is, but thanks. And he goes, peace and love, baby. Peace and love. I'm like, all right, bro, whatever. And now I'm just waiting to see. I mean,
Bro, you better post us, like reply to that Reddit post and be like, check out our interview with Throast and put the podcast.
I was gonna well, I was gonna link the podcast, but I kind of want to wait until, either we clip this, obviously, or, I also don't want to like seem like I'm milking it, but I do think it would be fun. I think this clip,
hit post. Like, fuck you, dude. Promo, bitch.
I think you have to milk this shit.
I'll send this clip because I do find that hilarious.
That is so fucking funny. What did his DM say?
Hello. All he said was hello, and I responded, yes? ? And then there's just people one guy in the comments was like, dude, that yes was so gangsta. and I'm like, what?
I mean, it is a great reply, like, for sure, just to a scenario that is like really fucking dumb, like, because you could have just been like hi or some like casual shit. Yeah,
just so no one thinks I'm lying
right there.
Oh my god, dude. I thought you were gonna say that like you watched H3's podcast, so you were named in the lawsuit for some reason.
No,
this is way better than that. This is way better than that.
No, your story sounds way better. Why would you even mention that?
No, yours is way better.
Imagine I was getting sued. Everyone would be watching our shit right now.
No,
I mean, we could probably get you in a lawsuit without.
Yeah, I mean, if you want one.
Yeah, we can manufacture that.
I do think it would be hilarious if, because they're going to talk about, because a bunch of stuff happened, Ryan, on the podcast, on their
you went on their podcast?
No. They've been off for like 3 weeks. So and during that time, Ryan Kavanaugh, I think he's got like 4 lawsuits against them, and I think he lost 1 or 2 of them already over the past 3 weeks. They mentioned it, but they haven't had an episode yet.
One of them got thrown out. I Googled Ryan Kavanaugh real quick, like while you were telling that story, and it says the Triller suit against podcasters over troll reviews was tossed by a judge 2 days ago.
Yeah. So
yeah, what the fuck would that even be?
I think he was trying to sue Ethan for saying that.
He thinks that Ethan is like hiring bots to
leave bad reviews. So I think that's what that suit was about.
It's like, no, the shit.
Also, like, no, you don't want to be able to do shit like that. Yeah. Like,
it's also, he's got, a few, not a few, he's got like, let's say 40,000 views when they do live episodes. Like, if he's talking about it, people are going to go over there just to fuck with him.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't take him he doesn't need to pay anybody to do that.
Just to clarify for everyone.
Go ahead.
Clearly Eric is an Ethan fanboy.
Clearly.
I'm not an Ethan fanboy, but I do like the podcast. Ethan just did something.
If we've learned anything tonight, it's that Eric loves Ethan.
And I love Saved by the Bell.
And Hasanabi.
I do like I do like Hassan Piker. Please, I'd go gay for you, Hassan.
Shout out to Hassan Piker.
Yeah.
I do, but yeah, I do think it'd be funny if they mentioned, because sometimes they do show some of the Reddit posts that are in there. I do think it would be funny if they showed this on their first episode back.
So Ethan and Gila, if you ever watch this episode, put Eric's Reddit post on your podcast, please.
Oh,
he's
it's
a big
so
fan.
Good. It would make his little dreams come true.
Little dreams come true. All right. Well, that was fun.
That's how you got to roll us out.
That's how I'm going to roll us out.
It was fun, and then the podcast hits the black no
Ethan,
theme
he
this
loves
week.
you.
Are you gonna make?
You just fade it out and echo it. Ethan, I love you.
Jake, can you make?
I'm already here. I can make the theme.
No, I was gonna say make a song that's for the H3 podcast.
For the H3 podcast. Oh, that might take a little bit more
don't
time.
Do that. Don't do that.
But no, yeah, obviously there'll be a new jam.
I'm excited.
Like I do every episode.
Can I just say one more thing before we take it out?
Go ahead.
Because we didn't bring it up in the Ryan Kavanaugh situation.
Mm.
He's also like, they're memeing the shit out of him and trolling him with Harvey Weinstein because he looks like him and he's fuming. He is fuming.
If we want to make this somehow TV film related, the big thing that they do on the podcast, Jake, is they claim that he looks a lot like Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, I got that.
Okay.
Based on the conversation we just had.
Yeah, I literally just repeated what I said.
I just follow the context.
I'm just here to repeat.
But he's just so mad about it, and it's the funniest shit ever. Because like,
I just broke my mic halfway.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out why you were fucking with it. It seemed like it was fine.
It was falling, but whatever. This is what we're rolling out.
Please show the whole thing.
God.
Please, I beg.
What?
Pick it up.
It fell off the table. It didn't really fall. I saw it about to fall, and then I started fixing it. And I started turning it the wrong way, and then it just collapsed.
You're a fucking mess, bro.
All right. Shout out to HD Podcast, and
shout out to Bungalow Bar.
Shout out to Germany.
Shout out to Woody Allen.
Shout out to Woody. If there's anybody to give a shout out to,
Woody Allen.
Woody Allen is our
and
guy.
Our buddy Javier, executive
our
producer.
boy Javier. You know?
Nah, bro, we're on a nickname basis. It's Javi.
I was nervous.
I call him Javi.
We've been gone for a few months. Nobody's gonna care, but Javier brought us back.
Javier cares 2024.
He cares about.
That should be our thumbnail.
Yeah.
Javier cares.
We have too many thumbnails at this point.
We have too many titles. We're gonna have everything in parentheses.
Just 15 titles for like the 20 weeks we've been off.
Oh God, sorry.
You better be.
All right. Catch me and Jake playing It Takes Two on Twitch. Every couple weeks. We're never gonna finish that game.
We'll finish it next time probably. It can't be that long. We've done a lot.
No, it's pretty long.
Really?
That game's pretty long.
Jeez, okay.
I saw a scene where they're in the snow, and we haven't hit that at all. So until we hit that,
we just ended a point. Like we just got through like a level.
I know, but now we're about to hit a circus, so we're not in the snow at all. So we have a circus at least and snow. So at least 2 more levels.
Gotcha.
But it's good not knowing. I don't want to look it up. I like not knowing. What else we got? You got anything to promote, Jake? You got some music?
I don't have anything to promote right now, but I will in the future.
Okay. Jess, what do you got? You gaffing anything? Promote some shit. You got any movies coming out?
I don't have nothing to promote. Nada. Zilch. Zero.
All right.
We're all broke, baby.
We're all broke.
Yay, broke. Yay, dead season. Yay.
Bro, I haven't worked in like 3 weeks. It's over.
You're
Next
a fucking
time,
liar. We worked together last fucking week, bro.
I'm aware that you guys work
other
together.
than that, though, I haven't worked. Somebody just asked me to watch their dog, and I'm debating it.
Let's
all right.
Roll us out.
Eric. I can cut it if Jake goes back to saying he doesn't have anything to promote. I can cut it.
I mean, if you want to do that, go ahead. But
yeah, just leave it in. Let them know how trashy we are after 26 weeks of not.
You hear that, guys? It wasn't me. Not my fault.
First episode back. The mic fell off.
We don't cut anymore. There's no more editing on this podcast.
We don't care.
Everything we say is in the show.
Yep.
I'm literally cutting half of the footage on each single Zoom clip that we have. That's crazy.
Oh, that is wild.
Perfect.
All right. Shout out to everyone we already mentioned. Shout out to Dexter, my cat.
And Woody Allen.
Woody Allen. Always Woody Allen. We already did Woody Allen, but
we're doing him again.
He needs at least 2. What else we got?
It takes 2.
And it does take 2. Shout out to It Takes 2. Shout out to anyone who is actually listening to this, like returning listeners.
Shout out Germany.
Shout out to our future sponsors, Bungalow Bar and
Bungalow Bar.
And Volkswagen.
Volkswagen, future sponsor.
Who's
the only German company I know? Oh, Adidas. Isn't Adidas German? Adidas. Future.
And Puma, I think, because they're founded by brothers, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are. Is it Puma?
Yeah, I think it's Adidas and Puma, or there'll be people in the comments somehow typing out it's Adidas, but yeah, whatever, who cares?
Yeah, that is true, and I do like that way. All right, Eric, back to the outro, bro.
We can't keep
Who's better, LeBron or
we're not
Michael
doing
Jordan?
this right now. We're
Jordan.
not doing this right now. It's
All right.
LeBron, but we're not doing this right now.
Has Jeremy Lin ever been on a Chinese team?
Yeah,
Yes.
we found that out.
Yeah, we found that out because I was right. Anyway, goodbye.
All right, stop recording.
All
That's
right,
how we'll leave it.
we're done. Thank you.
Bye.
This is Hope for Everything podcast.